So
Well,
influencers.
Hey, Julie, we are back. It's all right. We just kept talking through the break. That's all,
I
as
know
they
we
say
did.
on
We
the
did.
Tonight Show or something. So I've always found it super interesting to hear how people have been influenced along their journey. And, we've all had influences sometimes for a minute, and sometimes it's for a lifetime. So could you share with us, maybe, I know there's probably a ton, maybe two or three people that have been influencers in your life?
So as a young girl, Nancy Drew, I was a reader. So Nancy Drew,
You had a library, remember? Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So her having this cool little sports car going through the Sierra solving crimes, I'm like, oh, I want to be Nancy. And then I'm like, who is that person? And then Jane Goodall and Gloria Steinem. And Gloria, I've spent a few hours with, so that's thrilling. And Jane Goodall, I met, but I don't think she was in the mood to meet me. But
Was she
that's okay.
too
She
busy with
meets a
her?
lot. She
Was she
meets a lot of people. So um,
not to mention gorillas?
yeah, I know. It was just like, you go up there and you're just like, I was, oh, I've loved you since I was a little girl. And she was like, she gave me the look like, how many times do I have to listen to this story? But anyway, those were my big influences as a kid. And as I got older, I would say, especially at the road, there's been points all along the way. I mean, Gloria Steinem has been a consistent positive impact, I think, on most women from my perspective. But clearly people, and this may sound obscure to your listeners, but Ellen MacArthur, who runs the Ellen MacArthur Foundation in Europe, and her foundation single-handedly started changing laws to make the world a better place and more green. So I think she's an amazing person. The person who I think lives true to her values and leads the way in fashion and doesn't get enough credit for being who she is, because she's Stella McCartney. And regardless of, her parents, especially her dad, she's a standalone badass and has single-handedly helped open the eyes of the fashion industry to the damage they're doing and come up with solutions. And her organization's tireless. So she lives by her values, which I love. I would say if you just look at politicians today, Nancy Pelosi is absolutely someone that keeps on going with incredible values. I'm still a big fan of Hillary's. I don't want her to run again, but I think I really appreciate her. And then someone who's sort of an unsung hero, but if you understand what she's gone through, and this is another Californian, what's her name? Jackie Spear.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to her story. I mean, she was shot doing
Mm-hmm.
the Jim Jones time. And,
Yes.
and you're just like, wow. And she just kept on going. I meet women entrepreneurs all the time, and they're remarkable. They really give me energy. I mean, you've got someone who people don't even know probably her name, but her name is Magdalena Yazal, and she was one of the first investors in Salesforce, but she grew up in Turkey as an Armenian, a Christian Armenian growing up in Turkey, and
I
she
love
ended
it.
up getting to the US and becoming this phenomenal entrepreneur who now invests in other companies. And she's sort of a person behind the scenes, but you're like, she basically had to figure out a way to get out of Turkey because there wasn't another example for her on how to succeed. You have someone as Anastasia Soare who started plucking eyebrows. She's an immigrant from Romania, and she came over here and it's like, I can pluck eyebrows. Now she's got it, I think she's the second wealthiest person in Romania, even though she lives here. And it's like those people that have nothing, that know, like, no, I'm going to do this. And they keep doing it. And those heroes are everywhere.
They are. And, it's kind of why we trademark the term leaders who care, because one of my clients says there's Einsteins everywhere, and you should never close somebody down, their creativity or whatever, because we need as many of them as possible for everything, you know?
That is absolutely an elegant way to say it. I just look at people against all odds, and I do mean against all odds, have done remarkable things. And, then you meet people, if you're in the ER and the nurses, and, I know they were sung during COVID, but I mean, every day.
Yeah.
They're working with people on the verge, and the doctors are one thing, the nurses are there.
Yeah,
And so like
there's
I
a
know even
great
teachers.
commercial on TV about this couple's having a baby, and the nurse says, "We'll get you out of here," before she was going through some stuff. "We'll get you out of here," and then at the very end, they buy her this little gift, and they have a card with a picture of the baby on it, and it's just so touching. And it, they don't, most of the time they don't get the thanks and the recognition that they should get. And have you ever seen the movie Mr. Holland's Opus?
Oh my gosh, not in a long time.
I know, we watched it again. Me and my sons actually watched it again the other day, and it, there's a teacher that didn't think he made an impact, and he did.
So, I mean, they can make a negative impact too, but I just remember, I didn't feel, growing up as a girl who loved math and science, and all my math and science teachers were men, I didn't feel like any discrimination. And then, even people that thought I was cheating ended up helping me. So, teachers can make a big impact. So,
without doubt. Well, someone said to me, when I asked them this question, they said, you have a choice. They said, we're all influencing people all the time, whether we know it or not. And here's your choice. Are you going to do it positively or negatively? And it makes sense, right? So, yeah. And you feel better doing it positively. It's not even a choice.
You do. But, sometimes it's just these people, like, they're just living it, they're like, sometimes you can look at someone and you may never, I mean, like I said, I met Jane Goodall, and I don't think on a great day, but look what she did, and look what she's still doing. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't about her reaction to me, although I wish we would have had time for a couple selfies. We got one bad one. But it was like, she lives her values, and they're very pure, and she's trying to do so much good work, and she gets up every day, and it wasn't easy. And the same thing, anyone that's trying to do really good work and give back and trying to raise consciousness, I mean, who we don't even know about, because they're not getting the press.
You would have loved, and then I got to let you go, but I'm gotta get together because you're like super interesting and fun and whatnot. And I drove to San Diego with a friend yesterday for the opening of it was a Christmas show, but this African American lady who's like 80 something, Dia is her first name, did this play, and now they're opening up this theater in her name, for all the stuff that she's done. And this was one of the first plays in the theater, which still was finishing construction, but they still had the play. And again, the impact of what she did and what she's written, and the creativity, you reminded me when you talked about you did with the other kids, the theater and all that. There's a lot of people like that, and we need to concentrate more on them than the other people that are not.
Yes. I mean, if we can get away from, I'd love to have a news day where we didn't have to read about Trump, Kanye, or Ye and Musk. I mean, if we could just get away from that and really focus on what is moving things forward in a good way. I mean,
well, here we are. We're on it right now.
Well, we are, I know, but I'm talking about the great. I mean, if we could just stop listening to these megalomaniacs that have a narcissistic, and do you really believe any of those are trying to do good in the world? They're not. Yeah. Let's just focus. There's so much goodness going on, and we don't hear about it.
Well, we're going to keep talking about it. So thanks a million for being on and sharing all the wonderful experiences and having fun at the same time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. Thanks so much.